Konbanwa, good evening, fans. It is I, Look at the Mad Titan, and welcome back to the series where I talk about wrestling companies and their talent. This is the third episode of this series. I've previously done a probably pretty painful episode on WWE and a episode on AEW, which would be the inaugural or the first episode of this series. Just a couple quick details, and then we'll jump right into it. This should be a shorter episode than the previous ones because New Japan employs significantly less wrestlers than AEW and WWE. So it should go pretty smoothly in that regard. Why listen to me talk about wrestling? Well, there's a lot of people that already talk about wrestling. I may or may not be entertaining. That's up for judgment. And I may or may not be a smart or a smart mark or just a mark. But I am a 40-year wrestling fan. I am a former wrestler. I trained at ECW's House of Hardcore from 2001 to 2002. Really from 2001 to 2001, because that's when ECW went out of business and House of Hardcore closed. It was being run at that point by Mikey Whipwreck, former ECW heavyweight champion. Other trainers at that time were the SATs, Joel and Jose Maximo. Red, although he was mainly already doing matches at that point. Chris Devine, Quiet Storm. Those are the main people that I spent time with in the ring. Then Mikey continued to train me at multiple different locations as he moved his school around after ECW went out of business because I had paid the full tuition, and he could have just told me, to go screw myself. So I always have mad respect for him, not only for being my trainer, but also for being very decent about the situation, because he could have, like I said, very easily been like, well, you give that money to ECW and ECW doesn't exist anymore. There's no obligation for me to continue training you, but he did anyway. So I've been in the ring. I know how to work a match. So I have a slightly different perspective on wrestling than a traditional wrestling fan, but I am still just a fan. I don't even consider myself, or I've never described myself as a has-been. I've always described myself as a never was, because wrestling in the early 2000s and getting multiple injuries in a very short period of time pretty much ended my career before it even really started. So let's talk about New Japan. New Japan, right now, I am not actively watching New Japan right now. I am keeping track of New Japan, very much like I've done with other promotions over the years. I used to have, for a very long time, a subscription to New Japan's streaming service. What's it called? NJ World or whatever. I had that for a very, very long time. Up until just a couple of years ago, I decided to let that lapse. And I got Disney Plus for my son instead because I wanted to be a good daddy. So, the price was about the same, and I wanted him to be able to watch Disney stuff. So I bit the bullet and dropped my New Japan. It was, at that time, my favorite promotion to watch, actually. Right now, my favorite promotion is AEW. But I really follow wrestlers more than companies, because there's things that every company does that I don't like. So I like wrestlers, not specifically companies. I don't particularly like being tribalistic, but I will always be very honest about my feelings about the different promotions, and that's just the way that I'll deal with it. So let's just kind of do what we did with the other companies, and I just kind of went down and briefly discussed my thoughts on the different people and things like that. WWE was a little rough because there's so many people that are training. that are new to the business, that have only been wrestling for a couple of years, that are training at their performance center that they have on the roster page, many of which got let go like right after I did my episode. Not that that has anything to do with anything, but it was just kind of like, I didn't know who they were. And I didn't really feel like, at first I was like, this is going to come off, kind of like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I don't, because they've existed for 2 years or 3 years in the business, which is literally nothing. That's basically about the amount of time that I existed in the business. So, I mean, until they've established themselves, it's kind of like you don't really exist. And I had to look up quite a few people as I was going there, and after a while I just gave up because it kind of got silly. They have way too many of them, in my opinion. But that's their business, and they can do what they do. It'd be like New Japan touting every young boy that they've ever had as somebody, putting them on the roster page, which they generally don't do that until it's somebody that is actually at least having matches, and capable of being more. New Japan actually does things a little wrong as well, because again, I have critiques of every company. I don't really like what WWE is with the Performance Center, and I don't really like that New Japan keeps people in the young boy system for so long. I really feel like that in some cases that takes years off of the certain people's careers before they even really start allowing them to get established. I don't know. It feels like if somebody's a young boy for 5-10 years, then maybe wrestling isn't for them. Or maybe wrestling in New Japan isn't for them. Hiroki Goto. Goto is the man. I was actually kind of shocked at first when I first read that he won the title. Not because I don't think he deserves it, but because I wasn't expecting it, which has always been my favorite thing about New Japan. Like all the G1s and things like that. They constantly, I remember the G1 that they had several years ago, and they had, I believe it was Marufuji from Noah came over, and am I saying the right one? I think I'm almost positive it was Marufuji. Anyway, it was somebody from Noah they had come over to compete in their tournament, which at that time, it was very common in Japan, but in American wrestling promotions, very uncommon. This is before the Forbidden Door and all that stuff. So, major promotions working with each other in the United States was not something I'd been used to. So when I started seeing it happen in Japan, I was like, whoa. And then they had Marufuji, because it's either him or Go Shizaki, and I'm almost positive it was Marufuji, wrestle Okada in the first round of the G1, and I'm like, okay, well, it's obvious who's going to win this match, right? There's no way they're going to bring in a star from another company, even a very well established, well known star from another company, and have him win the match. And then Marufuji won the match, and I was just like, okay. And that was one of the first G1s that I watched every matchup, because they were constantly surprising me with who was winning the matches. And for me personally, that keeps me really interested. There's nothing I hate more than predictability in wrestling, whether it be not just who's going to win the matches, but what's going to happen in the matches. And I feel like that's why I really soured with WWE over the years, is their matches are all, except for the pay-per-views, extraordinarily formulaic. And I was even watching NXT for quite a while, like when Adam Cole was there, and literally every match, I could tell you at the beginning of the match. Now, I'm not saying this is some special magic power. I'm sure, thousands of people could have told you who was going to win the matches. And, the matches were decent, but, it's hard to suspend your disbelief when you already know who's going to win. And, well, what does it matter? You already know it's predetermined. Well, yeah, obviously. But still, New Japan, more than any other company, for me, as somebody who's been in the ring and knows how moves work and knows how to work a match, New Japan is better at making me suspend my disbelief than any other company. WWE is the worst. AEW fluctuates anywhere between, being tremendous, I'll use a Taz adjective, to being the drizzling shits. It could be anywhere on that spectrum. There's not a lot of consistency with AEW, and AEW, at least in the past couple of years, has been extraordinarily predictable as well. So all that rambling was actually me talking about Goto. He is clickable. I like how when you highlight over them, when you hover over them on the main page, the picture becomes color. I like how they have. I don't need to know his blood type, but still, I like that they have all these stats. They even have, if you want to go to his Instagram, you want to go to his his Twitter page, it's all right here. And then they have the bio, finishing moves, the Ushigoroshi. I'm surprised it doesn't actually say it. We just have pictures. Oh, and then I guess they're showing the tag team finishing move. I'm surprised it's not actually a video. But does it say it up here? We got the GTR, the Shotenkai, GTW, Ushigoroshi, Shoto, Double Team. I don't know this one. I didn't see a lot of him and what's his face? They just had pictures of him down there. Yoshihashi. I don't know, man. Yoshihashi, he that's a tough one. We'll talk about him more when we get to him. I love Goto. I have always enjoyed him as a singles wrestler. I have no issues with him being the champion. I was a little bit happier with Zack being the champion. I would be even more happy if they had Ishii win, but that's just me. But I do like Goto as the champion. I think he's a solid choice because I feel like he is still a solid worker, and there's no reason not to. So Desperado is an interesting one because it took me a while to get Desperado because when I started watching New Japan regularly, I used to be able to catch some things here and there. They had that show on Access. But that was only certain matches and things like that. I'd really only seen Desperado in tag team matches with Kanemaru or multiple matches with other Suzuki-gun guys and things like that. And I really didn't have a feel for him as a wrestler. Excuse me. I am still recovering from pneumonia, so I am better. I will try not to sniffle snort into the mic again, I promise. Once I started seeing him in singles matches, it was kind of like one of those moments where I was like, holy shit, he's actually really good. It just was hard to tell when he's in these multi-man matches. New Japan's favorite thing to do. It's they want to get everybody on the card. So they'll have all these really great matches on a card. And then whoever's left over, they're nah, we'll just have 3 trios matches where it's 3 dudes versus 3 dudes, and it could be 3 of the most random dudes. And if there's a young boy on either team, you can immediately know. We'll talk about predictability. Well, the young boy is going to be the one taking the pinfall, and every time, yes, the young boy is the one that takes the pinfall. So it kind of feels okay, they want to get the guys on the show, for the fans, because they want to, they want to see their favorite be there. But at the same time, their New Japan's multi-man matches are always just kind of absolutely pointless. But long story short, Stretch Muffler, I love that finisher. I love Desperado. One of my favorite videos that you can find of Desperado. Yeah, I don't remember which one of these is. It's a Stretch Muffler. Is his finishing move? I don't remember if it's the Pinche Loco, which yeah. If you know what Spanish, you know what Pinche is. Yeah, maybe it is the Pinche Loco. I'm not sure which, but the regular name of the move is the Stretch Muffler. Not a lot of people use it. It's a great submission move. But but talk about the video. There's this video of Desperado where I can't remember who he's wrestling, but like if you Google, I'm sure if you Google like Desperado Unmasked, he's wrestling somebody. Somebody pulls off his mask during the match, and Desperado gives zero fucks. He doesn't even care that the guy does it. He just like kicks the guy, takes his mask back, and puts his mask back on. It's to me, that was like one of the best, funniest unmaskings like I've ever seen ever in like I said 40 plus years of watching wrestling. It's super entertaining. So wait, is his name Jose El Desperado? Did somebody else already have El Desperado? I mean, for Twitter he had to go at El Desperado 5, which means there was already El Desperado 0, El Desperado 1, El Desperado 2, El Desperado 3, El Desperado 4, which means there was already 6 other El Desperados before he got his name. Oh god, that's kind of funny. Yeah, they're showing this as his finisher, but not the no, so it's not the Pinche Loco. All right, so I've 100% seen him use the stretch muffler as a finisher, but this looks like he's doing a sit-out pedigree. I wish it was a video and not pictures. That's a change I would make. If you're listening to Japan, I'm sure they're listening to just random, obscure YouTube gaming content creator that suddenly out of nowhere is doing wrestling video. Part of the reason why I'm doing this, because a couple of my regulars have listened and been like, "This is not for me," because I normally do gaming content, is because wrestling has been such a big part of my life for such a long time. My brother. It's just like why don't you ever do videos about wrestling? And I said there's a million people that have either been in the business, wrestlers, managers, promoters, bookers, you name it, talking about wrestling. So do we really need one more random fan talking about wrestling? I kind of felt like no was the answer, so that's why I'm doing these for me. I joked about the AEW video getting 7 views, and the last time I looked, it literally had 7 views. I'm pretty sure that last view was mine because I went there to check something, and I accidentally, because if I do that, I accidentally give the video a view. So really 6. WWE video I had like 50 something or something like that. So again, it's not like these are drawing massive views, and that's fine. I don't care. I'm just doing it for fun for me. Konosuke Takeshita, talked about him during the AEW video. One of like my top. So it's always people are like, who are your favorite wrestlers? And it's like such a hard question for me because you've been watching as long as I have. Are you talking about all time? Are you talking about current? Are you talking about AEW? So current wrestlers that are wrestling that I enjoy watching, Konosuke Takeshita is probably in like my top 3. Like I really, really enjoy his matches and him as a wrestler, and dude is unbelievable. Ironically, I didn't even know he was the never open weight champion because AEW. I'm talking about New Japan, but I'm over here picking on AEW. This is something AEW does that I don't understand. Certain people, if they have a title from another company, or even in the case of the same company with it being Ring of Honor, like that Daniel Garcia, not Daniel Garcia. Sorry, excuse me. They had Wheeler Yuta coming out, and every time he came out when he was the ROH Pure Champion, he had the belt. They mentioned it, and then he lost it to Lee Moriarty, and then they've had Lee Moriarty on TV several times. He doesn't come out with the belt. They don't mention it. They have other people that are champions in ROH, which is it's owned by the same person, and they don't mention or acknowledge it. And it irritates me so much because I'm like, you don't want to promote interest in your own business? Like, why was Wheeler Yuta always coming out with the belt and being acknowledged for it, but then Liam Moriarty isn't? Why does Mercedes Moné come out with 4 belts, including belts from New Japan, but Konosuke Takeshita does not? There's just, again, it's a consistency thing. There's a lot of issues in AEW with consistency, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're just talking about Takeshita in New Japan. I've seen a couple of his matches in New Japan, and if New Japan had deeper pockets, that would be a dude that if they could try to lock him down and get him over there more regularly, that would, I think, really benefit them with New Life. Talk about New Life, Yota Tsuji is another one, man. Like, both of these guys are very good, young. Like, these are guys that I would be building, a company off of. As much as I love Goto, it's, I don't think it said his age, but Goto's what? He's late 40s? Late 40s. God damn it. Gotta be late 40s. 45. All right, I'm making him a little bit older. So he's 45. All right. So, I mean, for New Japan, 45 is not that old, especially when you have like Minoru Suzuki still wrestling and things like that. But at the same time, like, I don't know how many more years, now that Tana's retired and Naito is gone. Naito being like legit my favorite dude. So, it's tough. They really need to start focusing on younger talent. I also am a little confused about the titles because, like, I know that they changed the IWGP title to the World Heavyweight title, and this is the belt. What was it? Who was the last one that held? Was it Ibushi that was I don't remember who the last one that held the old school belt. The belt that I picture in my head of when I think of the New Japan champion. I don't think of this belt. Which is funny because then you like look at the junior belt and it looks like it's like a boxing belt from like the 80s. I don't know. They're again picking on consistency, like a very modern looking title. I feel like that's a pretty modern looking title, and then a title that literally looks like it's straight out of like, a territory in the 70s. I don't know what they're doing. They don't even have a picture of Ishii with this belt. They just put a random stock photo of Ishii and no belt. Just his no belly button and his nipples and his back brace. That's it. Again, another one. I didn't know Phantasmo had a belt. I absolutely love Phantasmo, or as we call him in my household, Wet Bagels. I'll explain why because we're jumping ahead. Let's go back to Tsuji. So yeah, Tsuji is awesome. Is Los Ingobernables de Japón even a thing now that Naito's gone? I don't know. Gene Blaster, Marlowe, Crash, Curb Stomp. His future is super bright. I'm very excited to see him develop as he continues to develop as a wrestler. I mean, he was one of like 3 dudes during the pandemic era that like I saw wrestle over and over again. It was like him, Gabe Kidd, and Yui Uemura. Like those are the 3 dudes. Those are the young boys that they had during like the lockdowns and stuff. And it was like they just have them keep wrestling each other over and over and over again. It was so funny to me, at least. Ishii's probably my favorite dude in the company now that Naito's gone. I've like never seen a bad Ishii match. Never. And yeah, I know his name is Ishii. For some reason, as like for a short, and I don't know why I do it, so I hope it doesn't irritate too many people. For like a short, like a nickname, I call him Ishii. I don't know why. I know it's Ishii. I could just call him Tomohiro. But, I've never seen a bad match of his. I've seen him have a good match with Bad Luck Fale. I mean, he is literally the opposite of some of the other complaints I have in regards to consistency. He consistently has amazing, good to amazing matches with literally anyone, and is good at everything that a professional wrestler in Japan should be good at, because I feel like cutting promos and things is not as an important thing in Japan. He is amazing at connecting with the audience on a level. If I was going to compare him to anybody, to an American wrestler, I would say like the way that he connects with an audience through his ring work, not through his mic work or his promo skills, through his in-ring work, is similar to me to Eddie Kingston. And that's another reason why because I'm such a big Eddie Kingston fan, that I think I really enjoy him. I was like, when I really got to start to see, a decade ago, I started to really get to see Ishii work. I was just like, this dude is amazing at what he does. And for the fact that he's never held the top belt, like, if him and Goto had a match and you told me that Tomohiro Ishii won the match, I guarantee you he's beaten Goto before. I don't know. It's just one of those things that kind of drives me crazy when just like the the angry potato, whatever you want to call him. I really enjoy the dude. He walks like he has a bad back, and I have a bad back, and a lot of times my wife calls me Ishii because I walk around the house kind of like he walks when he goes to the ring. If you're familiar with his walk down to the ring, yeah, that's me. El Phantasmo, Wet Bagels. What's the story behind Wet Bagels? So I don't know what song he currently comes out to, but he came out to like a very dubsteppy song for a very long time. And then he came out to like a remix version of it that I was not as big a fan of. But the song started off by somebody yelling "Headbanger." You can't really tell that that's what the person was yelling at all. So we were, for the longest time we were listening to the song, because I have it on MP3 player that we listen to in the car, like when I'm driving my son to school or picking him up from school or going to the supermarket or whatever. We just going from point A to point B. Whenever that song would come on, my son would be like, "Wet Bagel," and yeah, so Wet Bagel, El Phantasmo. My favorite Phantasmo match, and it's something I think of a lot when I think about Juice Robinson, it was like right before Juice left New Japan to go to AEW. He had a match with Phantasmo that they started off, and for like 5 minutes of the match, it was all comedy. And it was hilarious. So if you like comedy wrestling, which a lot of people don't, you would have enjoyed it. And then they got mad at each other in the match. Like, again, kayfabe, it was a match unlike one I've ever seen before. Like, if a match normally has comedy spots, or if it's a comedy match, it normally stays a comedy match, or like I'll have a couple comedy spots in it, and then the rest of the match goes, kind of formulaically from there. Again, using Orange as like an example, he'll do his little kicks and whatever, and then maybe he'll, go back and do one or two other comedy spots in the match. But for the rest of the match, he's busting his ass like he always does. This match was, again, it was just the way that it was kind of broken up. It was like a 5-minute comedy match, and then they got mad at each other, and then it was like the bloodiest. Like, it literally looked like that they were trying to kill each other. And they showed in one match, like, look, we can do these two different styles really well. And that's why I enjoyed it so much, because it was just a very refreshing take on a wrestling match that I don't think you'll see very often. But I loved, because it was just something different. Now, different isn't always good, but in this case, at least in my opinion, I thought that the different was good. But other than that, I generally enjoy Phantasmo's work. I've kind of hoped multiple times that he would come over and do some things in AEW, because I think his style would fit in with a lot of guys in AEW very well. But that hasn't come to pass yet. When I don't know or I'm not as familiar with somebody, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to act like I didn't say anything with WWE when I was going through and there was some of those people and I was just like, I've never heard of this dude before in my life. AZM I am familiar with. AZM I am. Her picture doesn't go colored and is not click. Oh, neither one of them are clickable. New Japan. Here we go again. I don't know why Bushiroad bought Stardom. It baffles me sometimes why they bought Stardom because they don't seem to treat it anywhere near the level that they treat New Japan. So then why? Why do we even have an IWGP Women's, International Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Champion? Why? Why do we even have that? Why do we have a New Japan Strong Women's Champion? New Japan doesn't have a women's division. They have Stardom. So it's just I don't know what they're doing with that. I don't really grasp the concept of what they're doing. Like they wanted to start having some women's wrestling on, so then just keep having Stardom matches, on the shows that, or I don't know, whatever. It's confusing. I actually looked up how to say her name before I started this episode because I wanted to at least be able to say her name right, and now I've completely forgotten. Suri, I think is how it was pronounced. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. I've been learning to speak Japanese. I doesn't know how to say names, but I've been learning to speak Japanese for 6 years now. It's going on 6 years, and yeah, I'm still terrible. Don't try to learn things when you're old or older because it doesn't work very well, or at least not in my case. When I was younger, I used to pick things up like that was not a good snap. Like that was even worse snap. Apparently, I don't know how to snap today. Nope, I give up. Strike 3, I'm out. I'm sure I've seen her wrestle because I've seen enough Stardom. That was actually one of the reasons why I let my New Japan subscription last, was when Bushiroad bought Stardom. I thought I was going to get Stardom as part of my New Japan subscription, and I was hyped. Because I had a hard time getting Stardom stuff. And no, there was like no. It's a different. You have to buy a different thing from over here. But I'm sure I've seen her wrestle. I'm just off the top of my head. I'm blanking. On. Can I see her cage match, please? Oh, that was bright. That was really bright to me. Background in sports. Karate. God bless you. What is that? Chalek? I mean, cage match is a German site, so can you help me out? Just athletics? That means just athletics. Okay. Learns and tennis. I don't know how much being a tennis player is really gonna help. And her nickname is this Karate Girl. I thought it said she was 16. I was like, no, it's Stardom, so I wouldn't be surprised. But no, my eye jumped. She's been wrestling for 16 years, so I've definitely seen her work, but my cats are having a fight in the middle of me doing this. All right, sorry about that. I don't know what was happening. But look at that rating. That's impressive. 9.49. So I'm sure I've seen her wrestle, but I'm not gonna pretend like, oh yeah, I remember. But I do enjoy AZM. Not gonna lie about that. So I mean, AZM just beat Mercedes. Thank God somebody's finally beating Mercedes. And I actually like Mercedes. It just feels like she's had too many belts for entirely too long. I am drinking water while I do this because I have an issue with my esophagus that I don't really like to talk about in detail. So please forgive me if you hear me drinking. Callum Newman. So he's doing what, the United Empire thing? Prince of Pace. I don't know anything about him. United Empire. So he uses one of the Oscutter 2.0. So he's one of Osprey's boys. I don't know too much about him otherwise. So I'm not going to pretend like I do. And okay, wait. So we do still have the embassy thing. Are we doing that for other people? Did Suji have a... No, see, there's no Ingobernables. So like I said, I guess they don't exist anymore. Because when I read, I mainly read about match results, and then if there's matches that sound particularly interesting, I will go and attempt to locate that match so that way I can see it. So I was speculating that Chaos doesn't exist anymore either because, see, he just has New Japan because of the whole Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, thing. Okada's gone. All right. The KOPW. KOPW, not going to lie, never really got into that stuff very much at all. See, he still has the... all right, so it's up here if they're in a faction. I do enjoy Great Khan as a wrestler, though. I specifically enjoyed him and Jeff Cobb together as a tag team. Although I do enjoy Jeff Cobb significantly more, not as a tag team. Rumors are he's going to WWE. That's fine. It's go make some money, Jeff. Jeff is one of those guys that, like, if I'm showing somebody who's never watched wrestling before, like, I might show them Jeff Cobb because some of the things that Jeff does in the ring is the type of stuff where people would see it and be like, I didn't even know that was possible. Tour of the Islands and some of those other moves that he does. Okay, so Callum Newman was the guy I had read that the United Empire had reclaimed the tag titles. And so it's Okan and Newman. Okay. Well, I believe I just read that the Good Brothers or I don't know, man, the two old bald white guys. Sorry. Machine Gun Anderson and Gallows are back in New Japan again after being released from WWE again. So I'm sure they're going to throw the belts on them because New Japan, I feel like, has just given up on the tag team division. They were never particularly strong, even when they had like the Young Bucks and GOD. They only ever had at like times like 2 or 3 decent tag teams at a time. And then most of the other teams were made up of like this, where it was just like 2 random dudes thrown together like Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. And yeah, they ended up, becoming a fairly decent, coherent tag team eventually. But I don't know that was the intention. Think about all the teams that have held the titles over the years. I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about these two as a tag team. I haven't seen them as a tag team, so I reserve judgment until I actually see them work some matches and see if they are exciting as a tag team. But it just, on paper, this does nothing for me. Conversely, on paper, this does nothing for me. I like Yo. I like Master Wato. But at the same time, as a tag team, Yo and Sho together, I really enjoyed. All right, and now, see, here's the other thing. Now we have 3 tag teams because we have the Strong. Like, does Strong even exist anymore? I don't even really think it does. Because like New Japan Strong to me was like their attempt to start branching off into American wrestling, to have a presence in the United States for their company. And I don't even really think it's a thing anymore. I mean, I know they still have shows, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. All right, so does that mean Templaro? Could be saying that wrong because I don't know who Templaro is. Is in the United Kingdom or United Kingdom? Did I say that before too? I probably said that more than once now. Sorry, United Empire. TJP is a tough one for me because he's a good wrestler. I'm just gonna leave it at that. No. So that makes this feel even more random. So they're just saying Templaro is, from CMLL, which New Japan has always had the kind of partnership with. And then, why? What is the story behind him and TJP having a tag title? Any tag title. He's also been wrestling for 16 years, trained by Ultimo Guerrero. Moonsault Fall Away Slam. I'm trying to picture what that is in my head. Yeah, I don't know that much about this dude at all. He has what I would describe as a good look. I like all the tats. That kind of sets him apart from a lot of the other luchadors that are in the United States. I mean, Ray obviously has a ton of tats, but like if I'm thinking of like, Phoenix kind of does too. We don't see Penta without a shirt on. Penta's probably my favorite luchador wrestling in the United States right now. A lot of the dudes that AEW has don't. Roosh doesn't. I don't know. It seems like it's like one of those things where either they don't have many at all, but I don't like when I think of luchadors, I generally don't think of tatted up guys again, which is kind of strange because, like I said, Ray and Phoenix and things, but I don't know why I don't think tattoo guys necessarily. I think generally thicker guys with a lot of them with bellies because a lot of the luchadors have that more classic older style wrestling build, whereas Templaro looks pretty ripped. But this picture, this in particular, makes him look pretty cool. Like I see this picture, and out of these two pictures, do I want to see like the 40-year-old emo guy wrestling? Like if I don't know anything about these two, the 40-year-old emo guy or this guy. I don't know. I want to see this guy wrestle. All right, so what do we got here? We got Ren Narita. This is another one. Like, why did they even have a 6-man team? It's never, I don't know. It's never a focus of anything. So are these all House of Torture guys? Yeah, okay. I didn't remember Ren Narita being in House of Torture. But I knew that the other two, oh, wow. What happened? How did I jump down there? Yujiro Takahashi, not to be confused with Hiromu Takahashi. See, if this is WWE, this couldn't fly. There couldn't be two guys with the same last name. It's not possible. As a matter of fact, if you have two guys with names that are even remotely similar, you're gonna have to change that. Like when Brody King came to AEW, I was like, they're not going to WWE him, are they? They're not going to make him change his name to Bobby King or something like. It's okay. Our tiny, sad, little pathetic brains can handle the fact that there might actually be more than one person with the first name Brody or the last name Takahashi. Like, we can handle it, really. Sho just looks, I don't even know what he has in his hand. Is that a wrench? It looks like a magic wand. It looks like he's gonna cast a spell, and like, I don't know, man. Ren feels like the odd dude out in this group. It's like he's got his cane, And Show's got his, again, I think it's a wrench, but it looks like a magic wand. So Show's gimmick now is that he's just crazy. I don't know. I was not enjoying House of Torture, which is a shame because I like a lot of the guys in House of Torture. I like Evil. I like Show. I like Narita. But not House of Torture. Bad Dude Tito. Bad Dude Tito, I'm jumping past Alex Zane for a second. Look at that mustache. Bad Dude Tito, when I first time I was like, that's really okay. That's really a wrestler's name. It was like we were watching a independent show for a local promotion called Power Pro Lucha, and they had a guy who came out and his first time seeing him, so forgive me, I don't remember his full name, but his gimmick was Thick Daddy. It was like something Thick Daddy, or something Thick Daddy something. But anyway, Thick Daddy was his, and my son who's 10 like literally started like giggling at that when he was like Thick Daddy, and I was like, dude, I don't know, I'm not naming these guys. Bad Dude Tito. Sorry, we'll be back to him in a second. Alex Zane. The first time I saw Alex Zane was in Chikara. If you watched either of my other videos, you know that I was a massive fan of Chikara. I feel like Chikara is one of those things that one of these days, it might get their flowers in regards to maybe it'll be a Dark Side of the Ring. Oh my God, I never thought about that before. Chikara could 100% be a Dark Side of the Ring episode because it went from being, kind of unknown, like family-friendly, independent promotion to moderately well-known, family-friendly, independent promotion with a very hardcore, die-hard fan base, myself included, to just absolutely crashing and burning during the Me Too thing. Just crashing and burning, and then all of the things coming out about all of the people, not all the people, a handful of people, but it's the whole, all it takes is a couple bad apples to ruin the bunch type of thing. Just a handful of people in Chikara completely destroying the entire legacy of the company, and unfortunately most of it mainly coming back to Mike Quackenbush, Mike Spillane, the owner of the company that had always been the owner and the booker and the everything. People finding out that he wasn't really that nice of a guy, and that he had poor judgment in character. I mean, those were really like the two biggest flaws that he had. That he was very bad at trusting other people that he should not have trusted to train at his school and to help him run the promotion and things like that, and that he was also very manipulative and to the point where like many people compared him to kind of like being a cult leader, because the fact that he would always get people to work for him for free and things like that, and all of like the worst things that you think of when you hear about independent wrestling. But like when it came down to him actually doing anything specifically, I could almost draw a comparison to Manson. Oh my God, that's such. Do I even do that? Fuck it. At this point, I'm already in this deep. I might as well. Like kind of like Manson. Like Manson. Did Manson kill anybody? No. Did Manson associate himself with and possibly influence people who did murder people? Yes. And whether you want to say that everything that happened was Manson's fault because of that, or if he was just guilty by association, that's kind of like what happened to Chikara and why Chikara died, and it broke my heart. And I know it might sound sad or pathetic or silly, but I loved that company. I put a lot of my money as a fan into that company. I put a lot of my money as a fan into wrestlers' pockets that turned out to be really, really horrible people. And that's something that's kind of hard to reconcile with yourself. When it's like when you find out. I still have my Chris Benoit shirt that I bought, a million years ago from WWE when I was a big WWE fan. After I had met Chris Benoit, obviously well before any of this stuff happened. I have thousands of wrestling shirts from over the years that I've collected, and I keep in good condition. Like, what do? You burn it, you set it on fire, you throw it away. But like, I'm using the worst case scenario with him, but I have a lot of other shirts from other people that were not good people that did bad things, like, with Joey Ryan or Mike Quackenbush himself, or other people in Chikara that did much worse things. And I, have merch from them. I have masks from them. I have other things from them. And again, talking about reconciling, how do you make that sort of decision where you draw the line and say, okay, well, it's you separating the art from the artist type of thing. It's hard. But sorry about the little rant and ramble. First time I ever saw Alex Zane was in Chikara. Mike Quackenbush, I always try to give him credit where I feel like the credit is due, was a very good at scouting talent, and was responsible so many times for bringing people from independent promotions, from other countries over, and using them in giving them exposure for the first time. And a lot of those people ended up having careers in TNA, careers in WWE. So many of them are still in WWE. Many of them are still in AEW. And, the first time they had ever wrestled in the United States was in Chikara. Now, I'm not going to say the first time Alex Zane wrestled was in the United States in Chikara, but the first time I ever heard of him was in Chikara. He actually came in and did some shows, and he reminded me a lot of a wrestler named Whisper, who wrestled for Chikara, who unfortunately, as far as I could tell, no longer wrestles. But because of that, I am and always probably will be a fan of Alex Zane, and he's also a huge fan of Taco Bell, and so am I. And my favorite Mountain Dew, and my second favorite soda overall, is Baja Blast, and that's the name of his finishing move. So, obviously, big fan of Zane's. I wish it would stop jumping down. Sorry about that. Bad Dude Tito. So, like I said, I talked about him a little bit. I was not, and still am not, terribly familiar with his work. I have seen him wrestle a couple matches, but still don't know him that well. Big Teats. Okay. I don't know, man. He was in the group TMDK, which is Zack Sabre Jr.'s group. Bad Luck Fale. So, this is an interesting picture of him. I saw Fale go through sort of like this sort of interesting evolution of him being very limited and one-dimensional as a wrestler in matches, to he started losing weight at one point. And I actually thought he started to get better, and then he kind of disappeared for a while. And I don't even know if he's actively wrestling for them, because I know that he was running like a training school for New Japan in like New Zealand or something like that. So I don't dislike. Yeah, because I looked at luck. Screw it, I'm going to go with it. I don't dislike Bad Fale, but I can't really say I'm a fan either necessarily. Oleg Boltin. Or actually it's backwards. It's Boltin Oleg. I thought it was Oleg Boltin. I'm not that familiar with him. He was an amateur wrestler, apparently. I've not seen a lot of his work. All right, wait. So it actually says unit. I'm just now realizing that says unit under I'll figure things out eventually. All right. So is he only been? Did I read that right? Has he only been wrestling for 2 years? Okay. So again, I don't feel guilty about this. Trained by Yuji Nagata, so I mean, dude should be solid. It's kind of old for only been wrestling for 2 years, honestly. But when I started training, I was 23, and I was the oldest student at ECW's House of Hardcore at that time, by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of the kids were 16 and 17. There was like one other one that was like 20. And then we went from only having a handful of students to having it was like 40 of us one week. And then Mikey had a wrestler named The Prodigy, Tom Marquez, come in. And guys was like 5 foot tall. Hold on, I can't type all the time on my keyboard because certain letters are tied to the recording. Yeah, see, I can't hit W, so I can't type ECW. If I type in The Prodigy, there's other wrestlers that use that name. Anyway, you could probably find him, and reminded me of Taz in regards to his build. Not very tall, very, very muscular. So he came in and basically got rid of, in a very old school, not friendly way, of the kids that were not going to make it anyway. So, like, he gave them a couple of chances, and if they were just not paying attention or screwing around, he, dropped them on their head a couple times, and then, like, they cried and left, and we never saw them again. We went from, like, that very large number down to just 4 in 1 week. In 1 week, I was one of the 4. Because when he came over and spent time with me, I was respectful. I listened. I made mistakes. But when he told me what to do to fix the mistakes, I did what he told me to do, and I fixed the mistakes. That was it. Nothing fancy. We've already talked about Callum. Chase Owens, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's like one of those dudes that have been in like the Bullet Club forever. I've seen him have a couple decent matches, but it's just he's never really done it for me. I don't know. I never really excited to see him in a match. I guess is the best way I could say it. Clark Connors, I feel like I've seen him wrestle a lot of matches. And I think the dude is a solid wrestler. He actually looks really good in this promo shot, too. I just feel like New Japan didn't, and maybe still doesn't, really know what to do with him for some reason. And this might be shocking for me, even me to admit and say, but I almost feel like he might benefit from maybe seeing if he could come into like AEW and work Ring of Honor or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know that he's been with them for a while now, like a long time. Like we were running I got to a point where they were using it as a storyline that he was like the longest running young boy in the system for a while, and I don't know. I just I wish him nothing but the best. I think if like they could just figure out what needs to be done with him to get him to click correctly, because I feel like the wrestling is there. It's just something else is not working necessarily, and I don't honestly know what it is, but the only idea I can think of is to try something different, because what they've been doing and have been doing doesn't seem to be working. Doki, Doki sounds better than Dookie. Or Doki, I think is how they say it a lot. Doki. I like a lot. I had no idea who this dude was when they brought him over from CMLL, and so now he's in Just 4 Guys. I don't know. I got all confused when Sonata left Los Ingobernables and joined Just 4 Guys, and then it was Just 5 Guys, and then like not that long after that he left and joined Bullet Club. But Evil's in Bullet Club, but Evil's in Bullet Club, House of Torture, and I'm just like confusing me, and now Doki is in Just 4 Guys. Okay, I enjoy his matches. That's all I know. I'm glad that he came over and is working in New Japan. I think that he's a solid addition to the. My brain just went to the junior heavyweight. Thanks, brain. My brain wanted to say. My brain kept going. Say cruiserweight. Do it. Say cruiserweight. I know it's not that, but say it anyway. All right. I don't know this person at all. Daki Nagai? Daiki Nagai? Nope. I mean, he's not even wrestling a year. I don't feel bad. He looks good. Like, he has a good, solid-looking wrestler body. I don't know about his head. He needs some facial hair or different hair or something, but what else can I say? David Finlay. Oh boy. With the shillelagh. My name is Finlay, and I like to fight. For as much as I loved Fit Finlay, David Finlay, I'm going to put him in the same category. It's funny that he's right behind him as Chase Owens. I don't care about physique. I don't have a good physique. I didn't have a good physique when I wrestled. I wasn't built like the guy over here. But it had always kind of bothered me that I'll use Triple H's term, skinny fat, that David Finlay's skinny fat like CM Punk. I don't know. Don't get mad at me. I'm not saying CM Punk is skinny fat. Triple H is the one that said CM Punk is skinny fat. But anyway, I did like when he came back that like he looks like a bad guy now, but it's like kind of like I don't believe it. I was like, they were like, oh my god, Jay White's leaving. What's one of our other gaijins that we have? Gaijins. Foreigners. So they were like, well, Dave Finlay's a white dude, and he's got long hair and facial hair. So I'm sure that's not how it went down, but that's kind of like what it felt like. Dick Togo, this is a weird one for me, man, because like when I think of Dick Togo, I don't think New Japan. My brain still goes back to like ECW when they did stuff with him a million years ago, like literally a million years ago. But that's still like when I think of Dick Togo, that's what I think of. What else can you really say? He's just kind of like a dude who comes out in the ring as like a enforcer. He occasionally does do matches. They're not particularly good or exciting or anything. House of Torture stuff is kind of terrible overall, but that's like, I guess the point is like we're supposed to. I don't know what kind of heat they're going for. They're going for the grown type of heat, like, oh, these fucking guys again. Like, I don't know. Drilla Maloney, you got some nice neck tattoos there, Drilla. I need help. He is a Bullet Club war dog, so that's what Gabe Kidd and them. I don't know Drilla. I mean, that's a Drilla right there. Drilla Killer. Yeah, I recognize what he's doing there. That move. So, guess that's why he's called Drilla Maloney. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about him. What's your history, my friend? Oh, that's a very different looking picture of you there. Very different looking. Decent cage match rating. Not that that means anything. He's been wrestling for 12 years. He's English. Okay, so must be somebody from the UK independent scene, because UK doesn't really have. Well, I don't know. Some of the UK promotions might find that offensive, but I really don't feel like there's a big major. There's no WWE or AEW in the UK. It's all smaller companies, as is my understanding, and I could very well be wrong. But I got nothing else to say about him specifically. Desperado, we talked about. Phantasmo, we talked about. Francisco Akira. Now, he's doing the United Empire thing again, so I'm going to guess also in the United Empire. It helps. It helps when they do that for me. And I know the name, but the problem is there is 100% another wrestler in wrestling that has the name. He's Italian. I don't know a lot of Italian wrestlers. There is 100% another wrestler that wrestles with the name Akira. In the United States, and he's more of a death match kind of skewers to the head type of dude. Although he does do another character that I remember seeing not too long ago, where he was dressed up as an anime character. So you have to make sure we're not confusing Akira, the American wrestler, with Francisco Akira, the Italian wrestler. But yeah, I do not know diddle or squat about him. He was trained by Jinjiri. That's interesting. And Will Ospreay. Okay. I guess are they saying that because he's in Will Ospreay's group? Don't know. I'd be interested in seeing him wrestle, because I don't think I've seen this Akira wrestle, but I've not seen this Akira wrestle at all. So it's very hard for me to make any sort of comments when I'm not familiar with him. Fred Rosier. I want to say Rosier, but I think it's Rosser. I mean, I had seen him in WWE. I've seen him in New Japan. He's fine. I don't really know why he's in New Japan necessarily. I don't know what he brings to the table that New Japan feels like they need. And again, that sounds like I'm being mean, and I'm really not trying to be mean, but I'm just being honest. Gabe Kidd, again, he's one of the dudes that I watched wrestle a million times during the pandemic, and I just feel like I like that he's trying to do something, trying to get over and trying to do something, but at the same time, maybe he's trying too hard. I don't know. He also put on a lot of weight, which isn't a bad thing, but he was much leaner when he was a young boy. He's still young, so good things might be on the way to him. Ghetto, what is it to say about Ghetto? Ghetto and Jado. Again, because because I'm old, I think of ECW because that's the first time I saw them as a tag team when Heyman brought them over. And like it wasn't until like a million years later that I found out that he was like the head booker and then a big part of the Bullet Club storyline. And I was just like, oh okay. Really shouldn't be wrestling anymore if he is still at all, because I've not once enjoyed a match that I've seen of his in New Japan. You know, his booking has been, if he is still the one booking, I don't think he is anymore. I think I read that somebody else is now, but I don't know who. But he did some really good things, and you know, some not really good things. I don't really know what to say. I don't know what his legacy will be as time goes on. Talked about Okan. Hanare, I liked Hanare before he got the face tattoo, and I loved Hanare with the face tattoo. I love that he's honoring his heritage. I love, the explanation where he did a video where he talked about it and everything, and it made me want to root for him more. I enjoy him as a wrestler. I wish I would get to see him wrestle more, but I wouldn't mind seeing Hanare come over and do some things in AEW. No idea. Then I'm gonna get, it's to this point where I've already been going for an hour now, so I'm just gonna, at the H's, I'm gonna tap out on even looking dudes up. Hartley Jackson, I'm sorry, my apologies. I will at least click on here. All right, so he is in TMDK, so he very well might be a European wrestler that I'm not familiar with, but yeah, I don't know him at all. No, it's stated exactly where it's. Hiromu Takahashi is, if Ishii is my favorite guy in New Japan right now, Hiromu is my second favorite guy. I've loved him from the moment that I first saw him wrestle, and I enjoy his peculiarities and his wrestling and his overall vibe and everything. So more Hiromu is always good. Goto, we already talked about. Tana, I mean, it's tough to talk about the dudes that don't wrestle anymore. I mean, Tana, it did just retire this year. I think he's done, right? I think he's done. Because, like, he was retiring this year. Miko Satomura retiring this year. John Cena's retiring this year. I put Cena third on that list. But I would put Miko above Hiroshi. So my list is very questionable to, I'm sure, a lot of people. When Tana was younger, he was solid. He was the glue that held New Japan together for a very long time. Seeing his decline and having issues getting to the top rope and hitting the high fly flow and things like that has been hard, because I am a fan of his, has been hard to watch. So I'm glad that he's done, and I wish him the best in the role that he is doing, and I hope he's able to help turn New Japan around and really make it the company that it could have been. We got a couple more older dudes coming in here. Tenzan, I think of WCW, and I think of Hiroshi Tenzan. They even specifically before the New Japan NWO, they had done those super cards with New Japan, like the cross promotional stuff, kind of a la Forbidden Door things, but like in the 90s. So I remember him and Masahiro Chono and Ricky Chosu? Why am I blanking out? I don't know. Brain fart again. I only ever have brain farts when I'm recording. Jado, we already talked about being a tag team partner to Geto. Ironically, I'd rather see him wrestle than Geto. But neither one of them really need to be in the ring. It looks like the last time I saw him wrestle, he actually had gotten in better shape, which was funny because he was so immobile that I was just like, why are they even putting him in matches anymore? Jake Lee. Jake Lee is, I know something about him. It's like my brain's like, yeah, you know him. So he's in the Bullet Club War Dogs, but why? What is it that I know? Because I don't think I've ever seen Jake Lee wrestle a match. But my brain is still telling me I know him. Maybe it's because he was trained by Muda. Not sure. All right. Everything's shifted on me again. Jakob Austin Young. It's probably Jacob Austin Young, or Jay. 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 Well, he's not doing the United Empire signature, so I'm not sure. Does it say in the clouds? And then some kind of big, ugly splotch with a couple kanji on there. I don't know. All right, so he is the United Embassy guy, but he's from Sacramento, California. Oh wait, did the big guy say where he was from? I just realized I forgot that it says where they're from. Australia. So all right, I did say Europe, but that's not really Europe. It's Australia. Well, it's not the United States. Sorry, that's what I meant. Moxley, that doesn't count. No, Moxley doesn't count. Jarrell Nelson, no idea. Zero idea. Partner to Royce Isaacs and the West Coast Wrecking Crew. Okay. I've not seen him work. Not familiar with him at all. Sorry. I don't really like to comment when I don't know that much about them. Liger, I mean, come on. What is there to say? Liger doesn't wrestle anymore, so again, I guess they're just leaving him on here because it's fucking Liger. Like like just leave him on there forever. Love Liger. First time I saw Liger wrestle was in like 1993. I had the pleasure of failing miserably to see him wrestle live once, but many years later, rectifying that and actually getting to see him wrestle in a tag team match with Mike Quackenbush. Yes, the owner of Chikara. So Jushin Thunder Liger wrestled with Mike Lightning Quackenbush in Thunder and Lightning in New Jersey. And that was actually the match that Quack destroyed his leg doing a dive to the outside of the ring and hitting his leg on the metal guardrail. Still finished the match, but was never the same after that. I don't remember who they wrestled either. That's the funny thing. Like, I remember them wrestling together against somebody, but I don't remember who it was. Kushida, love Kushida. Love Kushida. I feel like the biggest mistake he ever made was going to WWE. I don't know. All right, millions more people know who he is, and he probably made a lot of money. Cool. I don't know if he got what he wanted from it. If Kushida got what he wanted from that, then I'm fine with it. But I just feel like it kind of stalled out his career completely. Just like Shinsuke Nakamura, who went from being like one of the top wrestlers in the world to doing whatever the fuck he's been doing in WWE for however long. Now, you could probably say the same for Kazuchika Okada, and I would not disagree with you. But Okada hasn't been there for that long. We'll see if that changes. But I would not disagree with you if you made that argument. Katsuya Murashima. Must be a young boy. I'm going to guess somebody chopped the... Oh, no, he's got... Oh, no, not chopped. It looks like he's... Maybe has some sort of vitiligo or something? Or he was burned? Interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. He has to be a young boy. So, but yeah, it looks like maybe burns. All right, Kevin Knight. Honestly, was not that familiar with Kevin Knight. I know that he had been tag teaming with Kushida, but I had not seen a lot of his work up until recently, where he's been doing matches in AEW, and extremely talented. Really, really been enjoying his work. Evil, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to Evil. Evil went from being, when Los Ingobernables was really just, it's gonna sound weird because it wasn't just because Bushi was always there, but like in my head for like the longest time when I thought about Los Ingobernables, it was really Naito, Sonata, and Evil. And Naito was always the leader, and Evil and Sonata were there, and for me, Evil clicked more in the ring than Sonata did. I felt like Sonata had like a better look, for lack of saying. Like, the wrestling was both solid. I just personally enjoyed Evil more and thought that they might do something with him, and then they did, kind of, sort of, for like a second, and had him win the world title, and then I guess they were like, nope, that didn't work, and then they stuck him in the House of Torture, and that's the way it's been ever since. And then I almost feel like they did the same thing with Sonata. Like, they did the whole thing with the Five Guys and leaving Los Ingobernables and becoming the champion, and then I don't know. Back to Takeshita. All right. Kosei Fujita. I do not know him. Is he wearing lipstick? If not, he has very red lips. A precocious young talent from his 2001 debut. Okay. Precocious. That's an interesting choose of an adjective to describe a wrestler. Oh, he's in TMDK too. Okay. How big is TMDK now? I feel like this has been a lot of dudes in that group. He looks interesting. He reminds me, like, just vibe-wise, like, just look at him like a young Ishimori. Again, he doesn't wrestle anymore. I understand why he's here. I'm very distracted by this gentleman, though. I'm sorry. What is happening here? Masatora Shuda, and is he mixed? All right, he has, just like Deli Dude, has not been wrestling for a year. Second generation wrestler, was born in Mexico City and raised in Sapporo. So is he Spanish and Japanese? I'm kind of leaning towards yes. That's an interesting. Yeah, I think I'm definitely picking up like some Latino vibes, and then also some Japanese vibes. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm not trying to be racist in any way, shape, or form. He definitely has a unique looking face compared to the typical Japanese wrestler. His eyes are very Latino to me. All right, I'm going to stop being like one of those weird people that analyzes people's faces. Master Wato, we talked about a little bit. He's still young. He's still finding his way. In New Japan, sometimes that takes a while. And I think once he does, it'll be good. Mercedes doesn't belong. Just like John. Even though she was holding the title, I don't care. She doesn't belong here. Mike Nichols, he's in TMDK also, if I remember correctly. Yes. I've seen him wrestle a couple times. Who's Oscar Lube? Lieb, I don't know if I'm probably not saying that right. Who are you? All right, he's been wrestling for 5 years. Standing over 2 meters tall. That doesn't help me. I'm not I'm not good. I'm not good with the metric system. I'm sorry, I'm American. Could you give it to me not in yards, please? Could you give it to me in feet? That's not right. He is 659 feet tall. Thanks, Google. All right, so he's 6'5". I mean, that's not. All right, so in Japan, he probably is pretty big. But yeah, that's not that. Let's not get crazy here. Let's not get crazy here. Oh, that was funny. Sorry about that. Ren Narita again. House of Torture. I guess that's why he's making the poop face. I don't know. He's kind of making a poop face too. A lot of them are making poop faces. Mikey's having a really difficult. He's constipated. Mercedes, I don't know. Sometimes she just like oozes sexiness, and I feel like that's what she's trying to do. Like, what does this look otherwise? Can you explain to me what this look is? I feel like she's trying to seduce me, and it's working. So I have to scroll down and look at Robbie Eagles again. Love Robbie Eagles. Again, another TMDK guy. Oh my God, how many are there? I would love to see him come do some stuff in AEW. Robbie X. Well, he's clearly in Bullet Club. I have no idea. They don't seem to have any idea. Sorry, Robbie. No disrespect intended, but like they got nothing for you, bro. Oh my God, please stop moving me down on the page. Rocky Romero. I've always loved Rocky. I've loved Rocky since like, oh my God. I've been watching Rocky wrestle since I can't even say when necessarily. Yes, he debuted in '97. So like super early on, before he did anything in New Japan, I saw him work in various indies in like the tri-state area. Let's go to his last page. Let's see early on. So it said he started in '97, but then they don't have the first match until 2000. So UPW was the company that was a developmental territory for WWE that trained like John Cena when he was the Prototype and Batista when he was Leviathan. So I very well might have seen him here, yeah, because he was in the Los Cubanitos with Ricky Reyes. That is 100% where I know him. I have UPW DVDs. I know exactly where they are. I could run upstairs and grab them and bring them down. We can watch some UPW. I could show you some John Cena Prototype and Batista Leviathan matches. But yeah, I mean, I knew him all the way back. So I've been watching Rocky wrestle for 25 years. So I like Rocky a lot. I don't even care that he's heel. It's fine. Good for them. Something different. Go for it. I'm completely down. Royce Isaacs. I didn't really know his tag team partner, and again, not gonna lie, don't really know him that well. Speak the truth every time I step in the booth. Rohi, Iowa? Probably really messing that one up. Again, maybe a young boy? Yeah, it looks like it, because I don't know him. Oh my God, he's in TMDK too. This is starting to become a joke now. How many people are in TMDK? This seems like entirely too many people. Because I know there's other people on the list as we continue to go down who are also in that group. Excuse me. Taguchi. Taguchi's a tough one, man, because he's entertaining. All right. So wait, Sonata's in House of... Okay, I'm getting distracted. Taguchi is entertaining. Like, I don't care what anybody says. It's never like one of those matches where like it's gonna be, you know, he's almost always in like tag team or multiple man matches. But when he's there, I know it's gonna be a fun time when he's in the ring. So I don't know. I got no issues with him. Sonata, man, why are you in House of Torture? Even though I'm drinking, somehow I'm drinking water and my throat is still dry at the same time. Why? Why are you in House of Torture? I don't know. I feel like that's such a step back for him. And it kind of makes me sad that both him and Evil are in House of Torture. Oh, God. Seriously. I feel like they could be so much more. Show we already talked about. Kojima. Kojima is like one of those dudes like Goto, where if they told me that, you know, he won the world title, I'd be like, okay. I mean, he's old as dirt, but it's Kojima. Like, what? Who's gonna have a problem with Kojima being the champion? Plus, dude loves bread, right? 54 years old. I don't know. I got no beef with him. Like, he's believable to me as a champion. Shane Hayes. Well, let me guess. Yeah, TMDK. I'm just gonna go to Takagi. Oh my God! Talk about my favorite New Japan dudes. And it isn't just. If anybody's even watching at this point, and it isn't just because he was in Los Ingobernables, and I'm a huge fan of Los Ingobernables. Nope. I know how to say it right. Los Ingobernables de Japón. Shingo. I'm a big fan of Shingo because I had seen Shingo wrestle in Ring of Honor in like the mid 2000s. All right. And I'll be honest. Was not a fan. I'm embarrassed to admit that because I'm trying to see, is there any way that I can actually get when he did his stuff in ROH. Yeah, because they were doing stuff with a lot of drag. I think they were doing a lot of stuff with dragging guys. All right, this is about right. It was like around 2004, 2006. So I'm just looking for ROH. That's not ROH. I mean, it should say ROH. ROH. Curry. It was not this show, but you see, Shingo started doing stuff in Ring of Honor in 2005. So he was green. Okay, in my defense, he was green. They only started tracking matches in 2004. When does it say he debuted? 2004. Okay, so he was green when I saw him wrestle. He hadn't even been wrestling as long as I wrestled. So Craigman is also Christopher Daniels. So that match was probably really fun. So again, not my fault when I saw him. He did more than just that. Come on. I know there's more. Got to be more to the... All right, so here, boom, we're starting to see all those ROHs? So it wasn't until... All right, so really 2006. All right, so he was wrestling for 2 years. I retract my former statement. Let's see. Let's see if I could see an actual show I was at where I can say that was one of the matches that I saw live. All right here. FIP Heavyweight Champion Roddy Strong, which if you watch my AEW video, you know is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, defeats Shingo Inman Sports Club, Edison, New Jersey. 10 minutes and 45 seconds. 100%. Now, any of these ROH matches around this time I would have watched because I was getting them all on DVD at that time. But I was live at that match, and I was just not impressed with Shingo. Fast forward to a million years later, he comes to New Japan. I wasn't excited. And then the dude started wrestling, and I was like, oh my God, I absolutely love this guy. I want to marry him. He is amazing. And I still 100% feel that way. So they're just nothing. He's unaffiliated. So what was Hiromu listed as? I didn't notice when we were up there. Was Hiromu listed as unaffiliated or what? So they're just gonna let Los Ingobernables die. Him, it just doesn't say. Okay. So what about I haven't gotten the Yoda down here yet. All right, we're close though. Shoma Kato? No idea. Has to be a young boy. Yeah, another one. Surprised he's not in TMDK. Sorry. Okay. Shota Umino. I feel like Red Shoe's son, the shooter, Shota Umino, they've decided that he's going to be one of the guys. And he's fine. I don't have any beef with him or anything. I don't think he's a bad wrestler, but I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Taka Michinoku. I mean, it's come on. It's Taka. Again, I still think ECW, Kaientai, WWE, but ECW before all that. And, yeah. Always enjoyed him. TJP, we already discussed that. Taichi's one of those dudes that, I didn't get. I loved Abby Miho, or Miho Abby. Loved her. Didn't get him. Kind of started to get him. And then, it was just this really, it's just, and then as weird as it is, he ended up being, one of my favorite dudes to watch. It just felt like he was, literally I was watching him improve in real time. And it was a fun journey to take. But yeah, I he went from being a guy that I didn't particularly enjoy his matches to a guy who I really did enjoy his matches. Taiji Ishimori. Taiji Ishimori is, every time I see him, I always think this dude is the prototypical, they want to have a very Asian ethnic looking villain in a movie. They would cast Taiji Ishimori to play it. He just looks like a badass, which does help a lot in wrestling, even though he's not big or anything like that. He looks scary. He looks tough. I don't know what's with the pretty blue contacts in this picture, but but that's always been my vibe. And he's also an amazing wrestler. He had that really bad injury. I'm glad that he's back from that. We already talked about Templaro. Why does this look like if Will Wheaton became a professional wrestler, it would be him? I know who the DKC is because I watched New Japan Strong for quite a while. So, but again, this picture is cracking me up because, come on, it kind of looks like Will Wheaton. And he's surprisingly not in TMDK like every other white guy. And a couple of Japanese dudes too. Tiger Mask, Legend, not much else to say about that. Teton. So Teton's going to be listed as nothing as well because he was in Los Ingobernables and they don't exist anymore. All right, well, there's Yoda. We can click on him and verify too. So why couldn't Yoda, Teton, Hiromu, why can't they just continue to be in and Shingo be Los Ingobernables without they can't? I guess because it was Naito's thing, they can't. I don't know. It bums me out a little bit. Teton, I've really enjoyed. I didn't get to see a ton of him, but I did get to see a solid amount of him before I stopped regularly watching New Japan. Makabe and Honma, Makabe, I don't think he wrestles anymore, or at least I've not seen him wrestle for quite a long time. Honma is always kind of fun with his Kokeshi. So every time I see Maki Ito do it, it makes me think of him. Ishii we've talked about. Yano we have not talked about. Yano is not only one of the best comedy wrestlers, but I think like low key secretly like one of the best wrestlers in New Japan. And you'd probably say that I am insane for saying that, or that just completely proves I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you've ever seen any of the matches that he's done, specifically where he's done things with Ishii, where he switches styles and Ishii starts doing his moves and Yano starts doing Ishii's moves, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. He's a fun dude. He's beaten Jon Moxley. I just like to throw that out there as a reminder. He has beaten Jon Moxley, so maybe he needs to come over and this Death Riders nonsense in AEW, because oh my god, I'm tired of it. Please, Samoa Joe, save us. Yes, I know it's predetermined. I know. Trust me, I know. Yo, we kind of already talked about Yoshihashi. I'm glad that he finally clicked with Goto. What was their tag team name? Bushimon. But I don't know. I don't know why he never clicked on his own. And I don't know if he ever will click on his own. Maybe it's because he just kind of looks goofy. I don't know. Even holding the stick, I'm not super afraid of him right now. Ishimori, like if I walked down an aisle and Ishimori, even with his pretty blue eye contacts there, was down that aisle, I'd probably, alley, I'm saying aisle, I'd probably turn around and walk the other way. If I walked down an alley and Yoshihashi's standing there with the stick, I would probably just walk right past him. Kanemaru, never been super into him either. The whole coming out with the whiskey thing, whatever, it is what it is. Damn sexy Yoda Tsuji. Anyway, Nagata is WCW, man, didn't use him. They just didn't use him. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, they brought him over and stuff, but like he is so much better than I ever knew he was. But it was hard to tell because they didn't do anything with him. So how are you gonna know? Yujiro, we talked about him earlier up there. He used to come out with Pieter or Muffin Ass, who apparently was Fale's stripper girlfriend. I don't know. Yodo Nakashima. I like your hair. I have kind of an old school wrestler, but no idea who this is. It must be a young boy. Yeah. Underground Fighting World before training in the New Zealand dojo. Okay. All right. I mean, I'm glad that they have a good amount of these young boys up here ready to go. And then Yui Uemura. Now, I would not have even guessed that's him. I don't know why. I haven't seen him in a while since, again, he was one of those young boys doing all those matches with Tsuji and Gabe Kidd. But it's a good look. He looks like freaking Sonata. He looks like young Sonata. So we have young Tana, because that's how I always think of Shota Umino. Is like he looks like a young Tanahashi, and now we have young Sonata with Yui Uemura. But I like that look. That's a good look. Him and Tsuji both have. Out of those three guys, Gabe Kidd, Tsuji, who had this major glow up, and honestly, Yui Uemura looks really good here too. So I feel like Gabe Kidd's the only one who looks worse. And again, looks don't mean anything, but still, I know Uemura can go, and he's in Just 4 Guys. Who is in Just 4? I wish I could click on this to tell me. So it's Yui Uemura, Doki, and who else? Taka and Taichi? Taka and Taichi. All right, well, that's 4. If there's any more, then I'm confused. And last but not least, the leader of TMDK, with apparently a million guys now, the absolutely amazing, one of my favorite guys to see wrestle pretty much anybody. I don't know what that was. Anybody. Talk about Mike Quackenbush again. I'll bring this is like the third time. I talk about Quack way more in this episode than I thought I would. Quack style, after he came back from breaking his leg, was extremely similar to what Zack Sabre Jr. does. So if I'm ever fantasy booking for matches that I personally would like to see that a lot of other people probably wouldn't give two shits about, it would be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Mike Quackenbush, because I think that they would have a very world of sports, old school, exciting, for people that like WrestleGraps or what the hell that there's another kind of derogatory term for it. I'm blanking on what it is. The grapple fucking. Yeah, there you go. Couldn't think of it. But I love Zach. I'm surprised they didn't keep the belt on him longer, honestly, because I feel like he is a reasonable person out of the roster that they have to hold the belt, because I feel like he's the type of guy that, like, if you're booking a match with his skill set and move set, there's not a single person on this roster that I've scrolled past that you couldn't have him take out with one of his arsenal of a million moves and it not be believable, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see how things change, evolve, adapt. So we got Bushiroad. What happens if I click on Bushiroad? I don't think I've ever been to Bushiroad's website. This is not particularly helpful. I can switch it to English, but that may still not be. Look at Tana and his big, sexy smile. Such a handsome man. All right. I was just curious. I never clicked on that before to see anything else we need to do on here. I don't think so. I swear to God they had removed this. I couldn't find this like months ago. I wanted to check something, and I couldn't find the roster page. And I was getting really pissed off about it. And I'm like, where is the roster page? Why can I not find it? And I don't know. I can find it now, so I don't know why I couldn't find it when I was looking for it then. I guess I was just blind. Do we have a retired belt section? Do we have a... Because they got that new... The belts up here. Again, I just feel like it's weird. Like, that's a nice belt. That's a nice belt. That's a nice belt. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. And then... I don't know. It looks old, which isn't a bad thing. Not a huge fan of this one. This one looks, the blue is a little much, in my opinion. All right, I'm not going to be a belt analyst at this point. Talk about ugly belts. I don't like that one. This is fine. The purple I actually like, which is weird because this is blue. I don't like this. This is purple, and I do like this. This, yeah, I don't know. It's not doing it for me. But, oh, there we go. There's the old belt. That's the one, which is funny. It was funny because this is the same goddamn thing, just a smaller version. But I feel like it works better with the gold and being bigger than being silver and being smaller. I don't know. It's full of shit, I guess. Whatever. With all that I was going to actually do TNA, and you see I have it open, but I'll be honest, I started going down, man, and there's just, like, I don't know anybody. And I'm not going to say anybody, but there's very few people. So I don't know that I'm going to do a TNA episode because I just don't know who most of these people are. I don't. I know who Masha Slamovich is. I kind of know who Moose is. I know who Steve Macklin is because he's with Deonna Purrazza, and I see their stuff on Instagram all the time. I know the Nemesis. I know one of these is the girl from Dana Brooks from WWE that got let go, but there's just like so many as it's going down here. Like I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. That I felt like it would be a kind of waste of everybody's time. But that's it. With all that being said, this has been the series where I talk about wrestling promotions and more specifically wrestlers in those promotions. I am Loki the Mad Titan. I bid you adieu. Goodbye and good night. Sayonara Toyasumi fans. Thank you so very much for watching. Please subscribe or I will send Konosuke Takeshita to hit a blue thunder bomb on your butthole. Have a good night. See ya.